Hello, Mrs. Allen's class. It's good to see you. Wait, I can't see you, but you can see me. I'm making this video so that we can finally start art classes. So if I've never met you, my name is Miss Danielson. Can you repeat after me? Miss Danielson. It's a long name. I teach art at Endeavor. And even though we're not together at Endeavor, we're still going to do art. So follow along with me, and by the end of the day, we're going to have learned a ton and create some drawings. Alrighty, what's going on today? If you were in Endeavor last year, you might remember this. I had to get my face out of the way. So we start every art class with this saying, and it helps us make positive thoughts come into our brains. If we are telling ourselves positive things, we can do it, we can do it, we can do it, we'll believe them. So I'm going to say this, and you're going to repeat after me. And it's okay to say it out loud. I'm sitting in a room by myself, but I'm still talking to you. If you're super embarrassed, then maybe whisper. And if you're really, really, really embarrassed, then say it in your head silently, but make sure you believe it. Okay, are you ready? We'll sit up nice and tall and begin. I am an artist. I am a creator of ideas and a solver of problems. Sometimes the problems are on my paper. Sometimes they are with my neighbor, or my cat, or my dog, or my sister, or my brother. Sometimes they're inside of myself. But I know I can solve problems because mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow. And I am proud to be an artist. Did you say it with me? I hope you did. If not today, then next art, okay? We'll try to do that every single time. Here's the plan today. We're making some art with Mrs. Allen's apples. Wait, does Mrs. Allen have some apples? I don't know if she does, but she told me that your theme of the week is apples. So I actually went into the refrigerator and grabbed an apple out of my refrigerator. This one is a Honey Crisp. That's what kind of apple it is. It's a very sweet apple, but it has just a little bit of sour too. I love how it has different colors in the skin. The stem is really tiny. It's in there, so if you know how an apple hangs off of a tree, it hangs off of a stem, but it's been cut, so it's very short in there. But you can see there's parts of the apple that are red, parts that are kind of a yellowish green, but it's all delicious. So maybe you love apples. Some people love apples, but they don't like to eat the skin. So they cut the apple and then keep the skin off. The skin is where the vitamins are, though, so you try to eat that skin. Some people don't like apples, but they love applesauce. I had this in the kitchen and I grabbed it. These are delicious, by the way. And I'm noticing that the apple on this label is green. So if you've ever had a green apple, people think they taste a little bit more tart, which is another way of saying sour. These actually aren't very sour, the applesauce. Some people love apple pie, apple juice. I'm trying to think of what else I like. Apples. Apples and cheese, apples and peanut butter. Apples are delicious. And apples also show up in art. And I am going to show you some examples. This painting was painted over 100 years ago. 100 years ago. That is a long time ago. Way older than me, even though I've got gray hair now. This artist named Paul Cézanne, he loved to paint fruit. So I also see a lemon and two green fruits. I wonder what those green fruits are. They might be apples, these two. These are definitely apples. A stack of 4. That wasn't the only apple painting he ever made. He also made these two. Paul Cézanne, along with other artists, would practice painting fruits and vegetables and bowls and containers because they didn't move. If they were trying to paint people or animals, or even the weather outside, there was a chance that if they started their painting at, let's say, 2 o'clock, by the time they kept working at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, everything changed. Maybe the people moved or the animals ran away or the weather changed. So a lot of artists would paint fruit. And Paul Cézanne was one of those. I have a lot more, you guys. These apples, they look a little different. They kind of look striped. These were painted by one of my favorite artists. His name was Vincent van Gogh. He also lived over 100 years ago. 130 years ago, actually. So his art always kind of has lines in it. And I definitely see it here. Here are 2 more. These are different. This time we're not focusing so much on just the apple, but we're seeing the trees that the apples grow on. And we're seeing the people in this picture who are picking the apples. So you can tell it's a long time ago because the 3 people picking the apples are women and they're wearing long dresses. I suppose you could go outside and pick an apple wearing a long dress now, but most of the time we would be, if we're working outside, we know we're going to get dirty, and the fashion of today would mean wear something like jeans, maybe even overalls, so we don't have to worry about getting them dirty. It's hard to actually see the apples in that picture. That painter likes to paint with kind of little dots, so it always looks a little bit blurry. This artist likes to paint that same way, but you can still see just a hint of the red, and in my brain, I say, oh, I bet those are apples. Maybe not. Maybe it's the fall leaves, but I'm going to say apples. Oh, this is one of my most favorite apple paintings. Isn't it silly? We can't see the man's face. The artist, Rene Magritte, put the apple right in front of his face so that we wouldn't know who it was. Kind of sneaky. He's so stiff and serious. And then he has that silly apple in front of his face. That's one of my favorites. Here are 2 more apple paintings. I've never seen these before until today. One of them looks more realistic. Look at how the shiny white spot on that green apple makes you think, oh, it must be very smooth. That little white spot tells you it's very shiny. The light is reflecting. The butterfly looks so real. And look down here, there's a tiny little caterpillar. Oh, it reminds me of that Eric Carle book, The Hungry Little Caterpillar. Have you read that? That caterpillar's probably thinking, how much apple can I get in my belly? Can I get that whole apple in my belly? Probably not. That would be a very full little caterpillar instead of a hungry caterpillar. This painting is interesting. It's not very realistic. The man is shorter than an apple, and there is a tree growing out of an apple. Sometimes artists paint pictures that couldn't really happen in real life, but they come from the imagination. Maybe a dream. Have you ever had a weird dream? I have. This seems like something that might be in one of my dreams, where I'm a tiny person with a giant apple in front of me. It could be from a story, too. Or maybe it would be fun to write a story about that painting. Look at how many thoughts come up just by looking at a painting. That's one of the reasons I love art. All right, what's next? Some more apple pickers. She is carrying a lot of apples in her hands. Are they in a basket or a bag? I can't tell. But notice how much green is in this picture, and then it makes her dress, which is red, look very bright. The same thing happened in this painting. We see the man picking the apples, and most everything in the painting is green, blue, or brown, and then the apples are red, and they really show up. That's a trick you can use for art. If you want someone to notice something, make it a bright color around all other colors that are very different. Ooh, this is interesting. This is not a painting. It is not a painting, but it's still art. Are you looking at it and wondering how the artist made it? Sorry, that was an alarm. It was created out of a collage. So the artist got a whole bunch of magazines and tore them up into tiny little pieces. So you can still see some of the writing. Some of the apples have letters on them. And then they positioned the little scraps of paper in groups, which then made the shapes of the apple. It's called collage. This work of art is very simple. It does not look real, but I knew it was an apple. It's very simple, meaning just has a few lines, a little bit of color, a shape, and our brain has enough information to say, hey, that's an apple. So we don't always have to be artists that make things very realistic. People can still look at our art and know what it is, even if it doesn't have all the details of a photograph. Here are two works of art that are not flat, so they are three-dimensional, kind of like the actual apple that I had. So these two are sculptures. That means you could go around them and see them from different angles, kind of like this real apple. This one is made of wire. This one I think is made of plastic. I'm not sure, but look at those bright, bright colors and patterns. Neither one of those looks like a real apple, but we knew it was an apple. Again, enough details to make a guess. That's all you need. These are cool. So these two are also sculptures. Well, there's more than two. These two photos. So this one is about the size of an apple. The photograph is just very close. I like the way they took a slice out and just shifted it just slightly, so it feels like it's off balance. And these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 apples are huge. They're as big as these bushes, and they're sitting outside. They're made of some kind of a rock. If they were made out of paper and it rained, they would go away. So the artist had to create sculptures out of something that was waterproof. This one's really weird. So this is a photograph, and someone took a real apple, and I don't know, do you think they bit? Or do you think they took a little knife and carved it? I'm not sure. Either way, but look what's left. If it looks like a globe, it's because it is. I wish I had a real globe. I should have thought I could have grabbed one to show you the difference. So I see continents. I see Africa. I see Europe and Asia. There's North America and South America. Oh, that's cool. That would be really hard to do. Oh, this is interesting. This is a book. But instead of reading the book, the artist took something very sharp, probably some kind of a knife, and carved it to create an apple. And then when it was spread out, when the pages were spread out, it was enough for it to stand up. So it's kind of a sculpture. Ooh, this is the last picture, and then we're going to draw. This one is so weird. These are like apples that have melted. But we know that apples cannot melt. Even if I put this in the oven, it would get soft, but it wouldn't melt. These look like wax candles. So the artist has made wax apples, the same material that is a candle, and then melted them down. It's so strange. I love it. Okay, this is a part where I'm going to draw, and then when you actually have time and you have a piece of paper and a pencil, then you can come back to this part of the video and stop and watch again. Because I'm realizing I'm talking a long time. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to draw. This is hard because I'm looking backwards at it. I'm going to follow these steps and see if I can't show you how to draw an apple. Now, typically, I would be using a pencil so that I could erase and then hide some of my mistakes. But I've tried this before, and you can't see the pencil line in the video. So I'm going to draw with a marker, and I know I'm going to make some mistakes, and I'm just going to roll with it. Okay. So first things first, start with a circle. Now, if you're wondering, what am I doing? I'm not actually even drawing. That's true. I'm practicing with my hand until I know that I have a circle shape going, and then when I'm ready, I will touch my marker to the paper, and there it is. There's my circle. So by practicing in the air first, your hand gets a lot of turns practicing. It's only going to touch the paper one time, but I call it air draw or helicopter draw. All right, next step, I'm going to come in here and draw a little bit of a loop. It just kind of dents down. It's a curvy line. It starts up toward the top, curves down, and then curves back up and connects to the other side. A little bit like a letter M, but not really. I don't know a better way of describing that. It's just kind of a curve. And then I'll do a little one at the bottom. So I'm trying to show that it's not a perfect circle. It has a dent and a dent. That's what those curvy lines are doing. Now, if I was using a pencil, it would be a perfect time to come in right now and erase the top line and the bottom line, have it disappear, like you can see in step 4. But I'm using a marker. All right, so I'm going to go with it. Step 5, that's the stem. That's the piece of wood that attaches the apple to the tree. Step 6, we're going to come down, make it a little bit thicker. Step 7 is a leaf. So that is a curve and then a curve, kind of like the shape of an eyeball or the shape of a football. So I'm going to have it come right off that stem, curve, and then curve. Now, if it works best for you to turn your paper upside down to draw the other curve, that's a trick I use all the time. My hand likes to draw a rainbow line, but it doesn't really like to draw a frown. I don't know why. So I'm going to split my leaf in half just for fun. The picture didn't do that. So there's one way of drawing an apple. The second way you might like better. It's different, isn't it? Let's see if I've got some room on my paper. Sure do. So we're going to start with that curved line. Almost looks like it could be a bird flying in the air. And then the stem, which is like a number 11. See how it's a number 11? And then close it up with the tiny little oval. You see what's happening? We're drawing the top part first. Now the bigger part of the apple, and it's going to go around and behind. Over here, comes up and disappears. And then take a jump over the top of that stem and come back out the other side. Hey, this one's looking kind of good. And I didn't have to erase. Now I want to curve it down, close it up at the bottom. And it's okay if it's not perfect, because when I look at my own apple in real life, it's kind of crooked. It's not perfectly even. That's looking okay. And then, on the example, they kind of drew this weird, like, smile thing. Well, I guess I'll follow directions, but if you don't want to draw that part, you don't have to. Seems kind of weird. It was almost like I was drawing a beard. Apples don't have beards. Now, if you have time and if you have materials at your house, add some color. And it doesn't have to be red. Look at all the different colors of these apples. I see some gold apples of yellow. I see some green. I see mixed. That Honeycrisp, that's the same kind I have. Looks kind of orangish in this photo. So lots to do today. Hey, I hope you're doing well. I miss you guys. And if I have not met you yet, I can't wait to meet you. So have fun drawing apples. Mrs. Allen's apples. Art with Mrs. Allen's apples. What letter am I repeating? Art Allen apple. A. Take care, everybody. Have fun with art.